can see some marks here. The corona left so many marks. Here you can see these ones are marks.
90% lungs were damaged.
So we were not able to transition that fast from ICU to HD. It took us at least 2 months.
Nakutana na wengine wanavutwa wanapelekwa wameenda. So the only thing which was remained, the only hope was that he was alive. He was not dead, nothing more.
Bernard walking, I see really God.
His voice, you couldn't actually recognize that was Bernard.
Any human being would not have thought that Ben will come back to life, including myself.
When the first cases of SARS-CoV-2, popularly known as the COVID-19 virus, were reported in Wuhan, China in December 2019, no one could facilitate that it would rapidly spread from a regional epidemic to a global health pandemic that would alter the way we live, ushering in a new normal that no one had prepared to embrace. Leaving scientists scratching their heads and working round the clock to develop an antidote to this virus. And as the world still grapples to recover from the socio-economic post-pandemic period, there are individuals who are equally struggling and bearing the brunt of COVID-19. This is the story and the recovery journey of one Bernard Auko, who is a survivor of coronavirus. And this is the burden of COVID-19. For the Blanked Out Stories, with me, Sasha Elizabeth. Like many other Kenyans, 37-year-old Bernard Auko had never imagined he would contract the highly contagious coronavirus disease.
First, I did not realize that I was COVID-19 positive. First, I was at work, and I realized that by then that week, a week too, I felt something, and I said, let me take a sick off for 2 days. So I just came immediately after that I went to the hospital. They told me it was blood infection at Sinai. So I just came back and I took almost 3 days. But within that time, things were not okay. Even though like a usual way of doing things, I just keep on going out, and also sometimes going to Rongai, doing my either buying some things there from Rongai. So later after that, I think after 3 days, that is when I realized things were not good. But before that, I went even to the church, and I was St. Mary's Ongata Rongai, and I was conducting mass on that last Sunday.
I realized Bernard was unwell on an online meeting which he was sharing, and he kept taking off to coughing. He kept coughing and going away from the meeting, but he didn't reveal to us that he was sick. And 2 days later, I called him, actually with a concern that I had noted there was something wrong, and he told me he had gone to Sinai Hospital for some medications because he wasn't well. But 3 days later, I was told that Ben was admitted.
What started as a mild cold would later degenerate into severe upper respiratory symptoms that forced him to seek medical attention. After a series of tests at the health facility, his worst fears were confirmed. He was positive with SARS-CoV-2.
I was tired, feeling dizzy, having headache. So I was asking, but what is happening with my body? So that is where I realized things were not good. So I never believed, because I was strong, walking, and even when we were there, I could just climb the stairs going up.
So the doctor advised that he will not go back home because the oxygen levels were quite low. So then they decided to admit him to the HDU, into the HDU that is in Sinai. And that night we stayed there for some time, waiting whether things would get a little bit better, but it wasn't, because by the time we were leaving at around 10, the condition had deteriorated, and we were being told that now the oxygen level were quite low and they had to supplement quite a lot to sustain him.
Because oxygen was a resource during that time, and most of the patients were not able to get access to oxygen at home.
While at the Sinai Hospital in Rongai, his condition deteriorated, prompting his family to request a transfer at a time when the country's healthcare system was limping with surging numbers of COVID-19 patients.
But the situation got worse, and now it was like the COVID had invaded the lungs, and we are now looking for a way of getting ICU where we will get supported, because he could not breathe on his own. He could not, actually most of the organs were failing by then. So due to the congestion during that time in the hospitals, it was even difficult to get a bed.
Vile alikuwa na, umejua vile tulienda alikuwa naongea tu sawa, but sasa ilifika mahali eti mtaongea kidogo haeme. Sasa alikuwa naema asif, ewe ilikuwa inakatika. Sasa ndio jamaa kaniambia, Bernard condition is just deteriorating, we have to do something about it. So ndo tukaamua that night, it was on 21st July. Sasa pia ilikuwa nyakati COVID ilikuwa imeenea sana. Sasa hata kupata bed ilikuwa shida.
This was running into the 6th day of admission that we left our choir practice at around 8:30 in the evening, and there was panic on our forum that Ben is actually unwell, and there was a plea to at least solicit some funds to make a transfer for him from the Sinai Hospital where he was admitted. And we all threw in whatever amounts we could, and at around 11:30 or midnight there, he was transferred from Sinai Hospital, and it was said that his condition was critical.
When realizing that his condition wasn't getting any better, so we decided to call hospitals. We called KU, which was also already full, and Nairobi Hospital. We were told to wait, and a friend now having come together, people are now making calls to other people they know and medics.
So actually before you settled on
Yes, we tried KU, we tried Nairobi Hospital, we tried Kenyatta, but they were all full. So even in Nairobi West, we were told that there is one bed remaining, but even that one bed, there was someone also who had already made a call. So we were told that first come, first serve. And we also realized if you were to leave him that night, then other things will have developed.
The long hours of frantic calls to different hospitals within the city finally bore fruits. The father of 4 was transferred from Sinai Hospital in Rongai to Nairobi West Hospital and admitted into the intensive care unit.
So we were looking for money to make him get admitted at Nairobi Hospital, Nairobi West. Meanwhile, here we also had a bill. These people wanted us to clear before we could take him. Realizing that the insurance by then were not where he is working, is insured, but now they were not already put the aspect of COVID. So it was tough. We took a risk of taking him there without full money. But on the way we were making calls for friends to reach out so that we could get some money to reach that 400 threshold which was needed.
COVID was on the peak time. It was the second wave of the COVID. The patient we have received from Sinai Hospital Rongai, he came here in very bad condition. He came with pneumonia, post-COVID pneumonia, lungs fibrosis. He has comorbidity of diabetes and hypertension also.
He was diagnosed with severe COVID pneumonia. So when he came to our facility, we did a CT scan chest, to understand the damage of the lungs. And as per the CT scan chest, the CT scan chest was suggesting the patient was having 90% lungs were damaged. So therefore, the oxygenation and the deoxygenation process in the lungs or in the body was not occurring properly. So therefore, he was kept on a breathing machine that is called a mechanical ventilator for the recovery of the lungs.
Came to our facility with very serious issues, not being able to breathe, not even being able to talk, because he was breathing very fast and wasn't even able to talk. The oxygen concentration was very low, so we had to do everything as per WHO standards and as per Nairobi West ICU standards. So we had an influx of patients. We had to manage in terms of triaging those people who need ICU and those people who need HDU. So in terms of severity, we had severity score of, for our patient had a severity score of 20 out of 25. That means only 5% of the lungs were working.
With 90% damage on his lungs and underlying medical conditions, Auko lost his speech and mobility, leaving his kins clinging to gleam of hope and praying for a miracle to happen.
He lost speech. He became thin and completely weak. He would not even identify anybody. There's a point I even visited and I could not even know that I came. And even during Nairobi, during that time, the doctors had to perform several surgeries. I think even the one for the speech was put through the throat. He had quite a number of tubes. And at some point, myself, I had given up. Even the doctors, because at some point we will ask now the doctors, he's unable to talk, he's completely weak. He was like half gone. Huh?
He was on the life support that is called a breathing machine for quite a long time. And because of difficult weaning off from the machine, we did a small surgery that is called a tracheostomy. So we did a bypass of airway. He was put a small airway here. So at least we can remove a machine from him.
From the nursing side, in those 2 months, we have done the back care, oral care, we take care for the nutrition. We have inserted a pipe in the through the nose. It was feeding directly to the stomach. So we have take care for the nutrition for him because the patient was not able to remove the secretion by self. So by the help of a suction machine, we are removing the secretion from the lungs so he can get ventilate very well. Yeah, we have mobilized the patient out of the bed on the chair or wheelchair with the ventilator machine also to improve the oxygenation of the lungs.
Choir members led by the parish priest of the Holy Spirit Catholic Church in Kandisi came in handy to support Auko, a staunch Catholic and a choir leader who was fighting for his life.
The church tried its best to support him spiritually, praying for him, visiting him and giving hope to him. And then the church, because he was the breadwinner of his family, and since he could not provide, the church also supported his family because Bernard has a young family. So the church, especially even the choir members of St. Anthony, frequent visits and becoming charitable. And this I would say that was inspired by the words of our founder, St. Luigi Orione, who says that only charity will save the world. That despite the fear of COVID, we need to be charitable so that we are able to save the life of our brother Bernard.
Zaidi ya uimbaji wake, yeye alikuwa kama ndiye coordinator, ama amekuwa ndiye coordinator wa hiki kikundi. Amekuwa pia ndiye anasimamia the development projects za hii kwaya kutoka Njandi. Kwa hii kwaya yetu tumeweza kuimarika pakubwa kupitia huo usaidizi wake. Lakini hili janga la COVID lilipokuja, Bernard huyu ambaye tunamzungumzia hakuweza kushiriki nasi kwa kipindi kirefu kwa maana ugonjwa huu wa COVID ulikuja ukampata.
We actually halted our own our video shooting, our choir video shooting because Ben was not there and it had to wait for a whole year from then to recover.
Auko's wife, Florence Bahati, had to shoulder the burden of family responsibilities, while his husband and breadwinner for their young family laid motionless in the ICU.
Alikaa kwa almost 4 months kwa ICU, na both alikuwa kwa ICU. Vile tuliingia, aliingia na akawekwa direct kwa ICU for those 4 months. Ya saa huku marafiki walinishika, niko na marafiki wazuri na watu wa kanisa walinishika food. Alafu sister yangu Milo pia alikuwa hapa na alikuwa sasa nyumbani akishughulikia watoto, na mi most of my time nilikuanga OC. Ilinipata kama pia niko student, ilibidi ni stop kwanza ili nimshughulikie. Ya majirani walikuja, wengine walikuwa na hiyo karibu, walivaa mask 2, walinao na wakakuja kutuona. Wengine pia walikaa mbali, wakaogopa, wakatunema hii area yetu sawa, they name it corona zone. So stigma na nini na kila kitu, the first 21 days were very hard to us. Yeah.
She had to contend with the two realities staring her in the face. On one hand, his hospitalized husband fighting for his life, and on the other, 4 children who were greatly affected by their father's health.
Bena vile alienda Nairobi West, tuliongea tu for 2 days. For all those 4 months period, 2 days na mdomo. Alafu sasa vile aliwekewa intubation, sasa ilibidi nikaenda kumwona, anaandika, mimi naongea na yeye anajibu akiandika. Sasa unapata mtu ako kwa hiyo condition. Na ukirudi huku pia lazima kuwe strong, pia watoto wasikuone uko na machozi, so it was very hard. It was not easy at all.
The girl was so much affected. He could even come to school asking about the father. Sometimes we could even call the mother so that we can ask how the father is going on, and at least the girl could calm down. Sometimes she could break into tears. I thank the classmates. They were of much support to her, especially when she was down. They could come together, at least assist her where necessary. Also, we had everyday prayer, morning and evening, purposely praying for him, and I think that one, it was of help.
My father was sick, suffering from COVID-19, but now we thank God that he's back. I felt bad when Dad was at the hospital. Things were feeling strange in school and at home.
Given the COVID-19 safety protocols that restricted movements in and out of the wards, family and friends resorted to seeking divine intervention and providence to sustain their loved one in hospital.
For the longest time, we could not see Ben while he was in Nairobi West Hospital, as his visits were restricted to family members. We received a cry that actually Ben was down, and we went to his family, to his friends, to our neighborhood with the parish priest, and we were there in adoration for hours. We wept, we cried for his life, and their testimony that I'm sure those prayers worked, because from there he was on a recovery trend.
It was a whole new level of infections, so we also had to deal with not transmitting the already ongoing infections to the other people in terms of the relative, because at the end of the day, the family brings a patient to the hospital. So we also have to treat the family, apart from treating the patient himself, okay? So movements were limited in terms of how many are coming in, okay? 2, if you have any underlying condition, okay? And 3, age. Before coming in, the screening part is done. Then you have to put on your PPEs, okay? Because at the end of the day, the patient still needs the love of the family. As we go in, already draped, nobody knows who we are.
The fact that there wasn't any health insurance cover for the novel coronavirus at the time, coupled with tough, unprecedented economic times, made it even more difficult for the family to pay for Auko's treatment.
We could all see how bad the pandemic did to the people who actually were affected, and it is not something that one will say one will have prevented it to some extent, or maybe someone could have planned for it on how best he could meet the medical bills, given that even at that time the insurance were not so keen on settling the bills until some time afterwards.
NHIF tuliambiwa Nairobi West atakuwa anashughulikia corona. Alafu insurance yake, the thing was that by the time he was being admitted in Sinai, it was like a week to the end of that insurance. Yeah, so walipo renew, walidai kwamba he was using the previous, he was admitted with the previous card, so the new one cannot take over.
Months later, Auko would respond positively to medication and was later transferred to a general ward at Bellevue Hospital in Nairobi.
The 7th month, Ben was shifted to Bellevue Hospital, where most of us now managed to see him. And most who saw him would come back crying. Then I would imagine Ben is doing better. He had lost a lot of weight. He had become a featherweight. Actually, would lift him. That was sending members to tears.
At that moment when they confirmed that you were actually positive, at that time everyone was dreading this virus.
Yes.
How did it hit you? How did you take that news? Did you just, because you had not anticipated that you would turn out to be positive with COVID?
True. Actually, what happened, I took it positive. And at first I thought nothing will happen because after all, people have been going through it and coming out. So maybe I'll also manage to come out of it. And I really tried my best as they were getting me even food from outside, this concussion and what have you. So I used to at least to use those concussions also part of the drinks that I was using there also. And I used, they used to provide me with the uji and so many things, even the kienyeji vegetables that I had that could at least strengthen my immune system.
Alafu after 2 days tena condition ikakuwa worse, nikapigiwa ati condition yake is in a critical condition, akarudishwa tena kwa hiyo intubation, hiyo ya mdomo tena. Ndo sasa niliisha kabisa cause alishakuja vizuri mpaka akaanza kuwekewa hiyo ya max. Sasa mnarudishwa to condition ilikuwa sasa madaktari walisema si kwa sababu ya dawa, but mimi nilikuwa naona labda cause tulikosa hiyo pesa, tukakosa hiyo dawa, ndio maana akarudishwa tena kwa tube.
It took more than just medical and financial intervention. A strong-willed man determined to survive for his young family, his faith and service to the church.
Huyo Dr. Mwindi aliniambia kama alisurvive the first time akatoka kwa tube, even now don't lose so after he can make it. He's a strong man and he has the willpower to make it. So that huyo Mwindi tunda nikimpatanga usiani ongeleshe saa I was taking his words. Yeah, they were the only things that he was giving me hope. Kwa hawa wengine nao hata walikuwa washaambia marafiki yake wakanda tu brother yako na tuone akimeka. So hizo nazo zilikuwa zinanifikia kwa umbali, but huyo Mwindi akiniambia don't worry. So hapo ndio ikafika, alikuwa kwa critical condition. So hapo ndio ikafika tu, yani I was just thanking God because he is alive, but nothing else. The fact that he was alive was enough for me. Because hata ukienda hapo nakutana na wengine wanavuta wanapelekwa wameenda. So the only thing which was remained, the only hope was that he was alive. He was not dead, nothing more.
The patient was also mentally very strong, and therefore he was discharged very well successfully. And when he got discharged, the lungs were almost healed. He was using the normal air from the atmosphere. There was no need of any breathing machines. He was eating by his mouth. There was no need of any type of assistance.
I tell you, it was a long journey. Yes, because we thought that it would take maybe a week or two, but that was not the case. It went into months. until now we were unable to comprehend what next.
So how was his condition when you transferred him from Sinai to Nairobi West?
The condition was stable but was but severe because he could not support himself. He could not speak. Telling from what I saw, now being removed from the ambulance to Nairobi West, he had already become weak.
His long-awaited recovery came after a protracted battle in the ICU and HDU at 3 different hospitals, with many deeming it as a miracle.
I would say it was miraculous. It was miraculous that he got well.
The office requested us that we should pray together as a family and walk the journey together with their children. So it has been a tough journey for us as a teacher working with John Paul. We have journeyed with the kid academically. Even the office has been of good help pertaining school fees.
As a group, we knew our prayers would not go unanswered. So, however, most who are giving up, especially those who are going to hospital, would come and tell us, hey, you pray, you people pray, Ben is not well today. And we would up our game in prayer more. We would have more adorations, more rosaries. We would call each other at midnight and at 3 a.m. because we believed in those hours of miracle. So, as much as the medical team knew, it's almost nil hope. We, the Christians, believers in the Rosary, knew this will be a miracle to hold our testimony on.
True to their strong credence to divine intervention, Bernard Auko bounced back after more than 4 months of struggling to survive the COVID-19 tornado.
When I see Bernard walking, I see really God. Because the situation he was in a situation whereby even the doctors themselves, they had lost hope with him. But luckily enough, God had not lost his hope with him. You can see a man as a witness of God whom he was serving, and is a witness even for the rest of the society. When they see him, they would say that, yeah, doctors, they do work of curing, but God heals.
Some war we lost, some war we won. Okay, so we are happy that Bernard is here. Okay, at least we won, and is here to testify. We are grateful to God first, okay, and to the whole team of Nairobi West, okay, and 3, to the patient for giving us that opportunity of us practicing what we know.
After the long journey, my friend Bernard Auko, he can walk, he can talk, and he can do the usual work as we can do. And today we can see he can smile, even we can also smile with him, and we all happy to see him.
His smile, however, is rather fleeting due to the large amount of money he still owes the hospitals.
The smile in his face has been taken away because of the heavy hospital bill he has. Because thinking of this bill and the situation, it will bring him down even emotionally.
It is nice to come back after the hospital, but it is difficult to live at home. In fact, you might even think of going back to the hospital because the hospital will always call you when you are here. But when you are there, they will only give you the medicines or drugs. So the life here is a little bit challenging because now the needs, you need to remit the money because, for example, they are expected every 2 weeks to submit 200,000 in the hospital. You expect yourselves to eat. You expect also at least to maintain other things in life. So it is so difficult, and as we are talking, the healing is not healing if there is no cure. You can only be cured when you don't have any stress. First, to maintain the lungs, I have always to go for a checkup, and also they have to do the scan because they told me that the lungs will never come at once. I also have this problem of the stomach, the infections. You might even think that it originates from inside. So all these are the problems that I'm facing. And then when it comes to memory, they also give me some medicine to at least maintain some supplements that can always help me maintaining and also regaining memory.
Besides the huge outstanding bill, the ailment left lifetime marks on Ouko's body from the interventional surgeries performed on him when the deadly virus rendered his immunity weak and susceptible to infections.
I lost weight. I used to weigh around 79 kgs, but after that I ended up weighing 39.4 kgs when I was leaving the hospital. Again, I had to also to experience a lot because I had the abant. It was something that it affected half of my stomach up to the spinal cord, one side. So it was like a burnt somehow, which affected me up to date. It still when there is a lot of heat, you will always find that it affects me. And when there is a cold, during the cold weather, it also reacts. So I always keep myself in between. Again, you can see some marks here. The corona left so many marks. Here you can see these ones are marks. So, and also these ones. So when I asked the doctor, they told me those are they were using them while they were transfusing the medicine directly. Again, if you look at my pua, there is a mark here. Yes. And trachea. The trachea is here that I was using when breathing. So that is what I think they were trachectomy. So that is what I was using the breathing, and also how do you call it, the succession when the mucus are full on my main chest. The entire hands and legs were not able to function properly because they were not receiving oxygen due to lack of oxygen from the body. I think that made it become more black. And I changed the color today. At least I'm a black man, but I used to be more blacker. Even me, I was asking, am I really the person? Yeah, it was not easy to recognize me. Dark, and also because they were not able to shave me, so the hair was also long, the beards, so the body changed.
Like many other patients battling infectious diseases, Ouko's family had to deal with the stigma the entire period and long after Ouko had been discharged from hospital.
Most people could look at me wherever I was walking around doing my exercise. And if you find somebody on the road, you will realize that somebody always wants you to pass by, or he hides so that you don't meet him or her direct. So that is it is something that really traumatized me when I see people moving away and also trying to not to communicate with you because you are affected with corona. So I will wish to inform people it is a disease like any other disease, but let's each and everyone take the precautions and also not to fear the wrath of this disease to make you feel that you are not supposed to communicate with the patient. And the effect of a person should always give you a challenge that anybody can always be affected.
How did you cope with the stigma? Najua si rahisi kwa sababu wakati kulikuwa na lot of fear.
I had to be strong. Kulikuwa na my friends walikuwa na nigeza, Wakaniambia, if I'm not strong, what about the kids? So I have to be very strong and show that I'm strong. And then those friends when walijikakamua wakafika karibu na mimi wakasema it will come and it will go.
About stigma, we talked to the learners, and we thank God that in our class we have a few whose relative had COVID and they had recovered. So from that experience, at least the learners were they had that confidence that their parent was going to be fine.
Auko's family and friends are now appealing for financial support to help them offset the outstanding medical bill.
The hospital that we went was, one is Sinai Hospital, another one is Nairobi West, another one is Bellevue Hospital. In Bellevue, the last hospital where we were, the bill was 2.4 million. In Nairobi West, it was almost 9 million, if I'm not wrong. And in Sinai Hospital, it was 267,000. So if you look at that bill, it comes to around almost 12 million in total. The friends, relatives, the churches around have really contributed at least. Now I can talk about 7 million balance.
I appeal to Kenyans to support our parent, Mr. Bernard Ouko. Anybody who is going to watch this, to support him where necessary. Also, our parents from St. Mary's, if you can see this, we still need your support. Let us support our Vero parents to clear the bill.
Living here is somehow proving to be difficult. You can't even get out there with a new dress or do what, because people are just outside there looking at you. Yani she's wearing like this and she owes the hospital. Yani you can't live peaceful again. I'm just asking the wishers to help us see if we can clear that bill. It is too huge. And
property ownership documents were used as collateral to have him released from hospital with a promise to clear the debt within a period of 1 year, which is almost lapsing.
The only thing that we left in the hospital was collaterals, which we got some title deeds. Here we are living, we don't own this at the moment because this was collected by the hospital. We also have a land at home, which was also collected by the hospital. Not enough. The friends came to bring their title deeds, which are still also stuck in the hospital. For me just to live and come back home. For me to be transferred to Bellevue Hospital. So all these collaterals are still stuck in the hospital, and I would request the well-wishers to help me to rescue the situation, because you cannot sleep while you know very well that you owe your friends who have been with you.
By the time he was living in Nairobi West, before even getting transferred to Bellevue, we had incurred almost over 10 million. And even leaving Nairobi West to get fully to get full recovery at Bellevue wasn't easy, because the hospital administration did not let him off the hook. So friends also came in. We were able to raise some funds to a tune of over 2 million, which will help us to reduce the bill. And again, now we had to look for collaterals. So as we speak, we still have a bill of about 7 million at Nairobi West, which actually they have constantly pushed Bernard to foot up the bill, because the condition will be, we are letting you off, but with the promise that you pay us within a period of 1 year. There are quite a number of title deeds belonging to different people, which were put there as security. And of course, these people also gave us timeline that maybe a year or so, and actually the year is almost elapsing.
We are billed to all of us who are watching Capuchin TV to support my dad to pay the hospital bill.
Miujiza yake Mwenyezi Mungu ilimtoa katika kile kitanda cha maumivu, akarudi tena mzima, anaendelea kututumikia, ila tu tuwaomba wale ambao wanajua hii safari ni safari iliyokuwa imetukwamisha kifedha, na hata kwa sasa hivi ninavyomjua Bernard huko kama rafiki yangu pia wa karibu, hajaweza kulipa ile gharama ya hospitali, bado inamuia vigumu kuweza kuilipa. Na ningeona vyema kwamba tuweze kujumuika katika njia yote ile kama Wakristo na katika watu wa tabaka mbalimbali kusaidia wagonjwa wa aina hii, na pia kuweza kuwasaidia katika vitengo vyao vya kikazi ndio waweze kurudi katika hali yao ya kawaida.
And also thank the Christians and many friends and well-wishers who have tried their best to make Ben smile, though yet not complete, and that's why we are still appealing for more well-wishers and friends to come up.
So how would you like the Christian, especially the Catholics and other good Samaritans to support him?
Okay. When we read the book of Romans, chapter 12, verse 15, it says that rejoice with those who rejoice, weep with those who weep. At this moment, our brother Bernard, he's not much rejoicing despite being healed because of this hospital bill. And therefore, we call upon the Christians and many friends and well-wishers to come to chip in and to support, to clear this bill, so that he may be having peace in his heart and peace in his family.
We seek our friends, colleagues, relatives, associates, everyone that we get in touch with, that we can be able to help Bernard Auko to settle the remainder of the bill that stands at Kenya shillings 7 million.
And as the organizing secretary to his fundraisings, I actually appeal to all. Whatever amount you can put in, it will not go in vain. It will be a blessing to you and a blessing to Ben's family.
But if we come together, we'll be able to help Bernard and all the rest who are in similar situation.
I would wish to thank the St. Mary's Catholic Church in Rongai, who was by then Father Mwangi and Father Amisi, who really prayed for me. I also take the opportunity also to thank the Holy Spirit Candice Parish, St. Antonio Padua Catholic Church. These people have really stood with me and they have done a lot of us. Not forgetting Father Jeremiah, who has been working hard to ensure that he involved each and every the parish member to help me on raising this fund. Not also forgetting the Rakwaro Global Alumni Association, where they came together and helped me on raising the fund. I would wish also to remember the family of the Catholic University of Eastern Africa, who has given us a lot of support, not forgetting those individuals who offered me mass in their houses. We also have other people, other churches like Seventh-day Adventist on Rangau Metro, and we have AIC here at Rangau Metro. We also have PCA Rangau Metro. Not forgetting Our Lady of Fatima, Rakwaro Parish, where they even organized for me the fund drive in the church, at least to help me with the help of Father Marceline and Father Bernard. And also the Radio Arise, which is being managed by the Homa Bay Diocese, Father Mege, who is in charge. They really did a commendable job by every day praying for me and then ensuring that always, if there is any support, I know they were sharing it with the people who are there. So I really am very much grateful to everyone. St. Gregory Choir, where I belong, and St. Anton Choir, where is my child. So when I came here, we raised that choir, and it is one of the copy of our St. Gregory Choir at Rongai, and all the friends, the relatives who came here, and entirely the family of Roy Sambu, which is Sunrise Estate where we live. They stood up with us and they did their best. I know there are so many people who lend us their help as friends. I can't quote all of them, and they are still continuing. The journey is still there. We are still journeying together. I would request each and everyone not to tire up, but to help me on reaching this goal. Not forgetting the St. Mary's Primary School also, who has done a great job ensuring my children are in school.
Thank you very much for welcoming us in your home.
The story of Bernard Auko is one of the most horrendous and difficult stories told and untold about the aftermaths, especially the socio-economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Just imagine grappling with organ failure and at the same time massive loss of weight and memory lapses, and months later, because it's almost close to a year right now since he was hospitalized in July 2021, but still there is quite a lot that needs to be put in order for them to bounce back to their normal life. They say a hand that giveth is the hand that receiveth. So the little you contribute will go a long way towards supporting Bernard Auko and his family to offset this bulging medical bill of 7 million and pick up their pieces to start building their young family. The pay bill number is 8045009. Account number, use your name. So thank you very much for following this. I had Felix Juma and Elvis Mukua manning the cameras. They were assisted by none other than Martha Mudoni. Thank you very much, the team. My name is Sasha Elizabeth, and this is Blanked Out Stories from Sunrise Estate, Kajiado East, in the larger Kajiado County.
Thank you.